Okay, once again, listening. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Very good. So here chapter third, all of you see here in your chemistry syllabus here one first, second and third chapter will come. Only three chapters, first, second and third. Okay. So here first and second chapter completed in the lecture videos also. And today I will start the chapter number third, water. Okay. Clear? So here in this chapter, water, in this chapter, water, listening, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, very good. So here in this chapter, water, first of all, introduction of the water. First of all, introduction of the water. That we know that water is very important substance, and why this is very important? Because this is we can see in daily life many works happen only in the presence of the water. In the starting in the morning, you are using the water for bathing, for washing. So these are the uses. And if you see the other things, so many usage means in the plants all the vital activities only occur only in the presence of the water. In the animals, in the human being also, that all the chemical activities, chemical reaction occur in our body only in the presence of water. So this is very important substance. Means we can say all the things happen means in the nature and in the human beings, in the animal, that vital activities occur only in the presence of the water. So this is very important substance. And this covers 70% of the earth's surface in the form of the sea water, river water, lake water, pond water, and this covers the 70% of the earth's surface. And W. Ostwald stated that almost all the chemical activities in the nature occur only in the presence of the water. W. Ostwald stated that almost all the chemical activities, all the chemical reactions occur in the nature only in the presence of the water. In the presence of the water. And he said that this is elixir of life. Elixir of life means prolonged life. Means this is very important in whole of our life, in all the vital activities and the other. This is very useful. So we can say this is elixir of life, means prolonged life. And after this here, occurrence of the water, we know that occurrence of the water in the solid state, that in the form of ice, snow, frost. So these are in solid state, and the liquid state on the earth surface, river water, sea water, pond water, lake water. Below the earth surface, well water. So and above the earth surface as dew, and gaseous state as water vapor, clouds, mist, fog. So these are the water occurrence. In the combined state, if you say, so in the combined state in the living matter, so this occur in the combined form in all living matter, plants and animals, and we can see here different type of compounds, hydrated compounds. Suppose that CuSO4.5H2O. This is blue vitriol. And here the 5 water molecules loosely held by the copper sulfate. So here in the compound also the water present in the combined form. For example, CuSO4 I told, CuSO4.5H2O, this is the formula of blue vitriol, and here the 5 molecules of water loosely held by the copper sulfate. And after this here, Earth's surface covers approximately 70% by the water, and human body 70% water present by weight in human body. And if we see the vegetables, so here 80 to 90% water present in the vegetable, and milk here 85% water present, and if we see the dry cereals, so here 3 to 5% water present. So here water is very important substance in our life. And after this water cycle, you know that due to the atmospheric temperature, the water change into the vapor form. Means from the sea water, the water change into the vapor form. From sea water, river water, the water changes into the vapor form, in the gaseous form. And this by the condensation process, means this go in the atmosphere, and by the condensation process, this again come back on the earth surface in the form of the rain. So if we this is the water cycle, means first the water change into the gaseous form. Hello, what is the problem? Hello, hello, any problem?
Sir, your voice is not coming properly. Sir.
Okay, once again here I am starting. After that you will inform. Now clear or not? Why is clear?
Clear.
Now clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
So here water cycle means first the water change into the gaseous form, into the vapor form, and after this by the condensation process, this again come back to the earth surface in the form of the rain. So this is the water cycle, and after this water is considered a compound and not an element. So we know that water is a compound because this is made by the hydrogen and oxygen, and these combine chemically and we get the water compound. So here this is here given topic here, what is water is considered a compound and not an element. So first time Henry Cavendish prepared the water in the lab by taking the 2 volume of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen. So Henry Cavendish first time prepared the water in the lab by taking the 2 volume of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen. So he said that due to the combination of 2 volume of hydrogen, means he took the 2 volume of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen and ignited these substances together, and after this he got the compound water. So he said that due to the ignition, the hydrogen and oxygen chemically react with each other and we get the water compound. This is the compound, and here the 2 volume of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen present. Means these are present in the fixed ratio 2:1. Suppose that if you are taking the water, any type of the water, means suppose that you are bringing from the sea, bringing from the river, bringing from the pond, so here the water formula will be same, H2O. Means these are present in the fixed ratio 2 volume of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen. Means we can say 2:1 ratio. So for the water formula here, hydrogen and oxygen are present in the fixed ratio in the 2:1 form. So that's why that Henry Cavendish said that water is not an element, this is the compound. And after this, Anthony Lavoisier confirmed that water is the compound, because water has its own properties, and this is made by the hydrogen and oxygen by the chemical combination 2 volume of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen. So he confirmed that, Anthony Lavoisier confirmed that this is the compound. And after this, how we can understand this is the compound? What are the properties of the compound? So here some properties here of the compound. We know that in the earlier class also you have studied the properties of the compound. So here first property, the components are present in the fixed ratio. The components are present in the fixed ratio. So here if we see the water compound, so here hydrogen and oxygen, these are present in the fixed ratio. These are chemically combined with each other and these are present in the fixed ratio. And here the ratio will be 2:1. So we can say water is a compound. And next property here, the component lost their properties. Due to the chemical combination, the components lost their properties. So here we can see water is water made by the two elements, two components, hydrogen and oxygen. So these are the two components, hydrogen and oxygen, here used for making of water. So in this way, here the components lost their properties and new properties we get, and these properties are only compound. So here water is a compound and here hydrogen, oxygen lost their properties and we get the new properties of water. So in this way here compound property, that components lost their properties, and new properties exist. These properties are only compound. So you can understand by taking one example for this. Suppose that here in making of water, we know that hydrogen reacts with oxygen. So H2 reacts with oxygen, we get the water. So when the hydrogen reacts with oxygen, we get the water. So in this way, we know that hydrogen, this is the gas, and oxygen, this is also the gas. But we are getting the water, and this water generally found in the nature in liquid state. So generally the water found in the nature in liquid state. So here hydrogen, this is the gas, oxygen gas, and we are getting the water. This is generally found in the liquid state. So in this way we can say that properties here change. Means hydrogen here gas, oxygen here gas, but we are getting the liquid water. So we can say here property change. And the second we can see here, hydrogen, this is the inflammable gas. This catches fire easily and this makes the explosive mixture with air. This makes the explosive mixture with oxygen or oxygen. So here hydrogen, this is inflammable gas, this catches fire easily, and oxygen, we know that this is the supporter of combustion process. So here when hydrogen reacts with oxygen, we are getting the water, and this water generally used for extinguishing the burning process. So here hydrogen, we can see this is inflammable gas, oxygen, this is the supporter of the combustion process, but we are getting the water. This water is generally used in extinguishing the burning process. So totally different properties we are getting here. So we can see, we can understand here, in making of the compound, the components lost their properties and we get the new properties of only compound. So here water here made by the hydrogen and oxygen, but no any properties of hydrogen and oxygen here exist. Only the properties of water here exist. New properties we get, and these properties of only water. And next, that components of the compound, next property, components of compound we separate only by the chemical means. So we can separate the components of the compound only by the chemical means, not by the physical means. Chemical means chemical change or chemical reaction. So only by the chemical means we can separate the components of the compound. And physical means physically means no any change in the substance. Suppose that heating, boiling, so these are the physical change. If you heat the water, water will change into the gaseous form. If we cool the gaseous water, this will change into the liquid form, and liquid water, if we cool, so this will change into the ice form. But here no any change in the substance. Here the formula same. Gaseous water, the formula H2O. Liquid water, the formula H2O. Solid water means ice form of the water. Here also the formula H2O. So no any change in the formula means no any change in the substance. Substance remains same. So this is the physical change, heating, boiling here. And chemical change means here chemical means chemical change. So chemical change we can occur here water if we pass the electric current here in the water. If we pass the electric current, so here this water will dissociate into the hydrogen and oxygen gas. So due to the passing of electric current, the water dissociates into the hydrogen and oxygen gas. So this is the, here we can say chemical means, and by the chemical means we can change the particular substance in another. So here water, this is the compound, and by passing of electric current we can change into the two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. So these are the properties of the water, these are the properties of compound. And here if we take the water example, so here all the properties exist, so we can say water is the compound. Next, natural and treated water. Natural and treated water. If we are getting the water naturally from the nature, naturally we are getting, so we can say natural water. For example, sea water, river water, lake water, pond water. So these are the natural water because we are getting naturally. So these are the natural water. And treated water means if the water receives some type of treatment, if the water receives some treatment for the purification, so we can say these are the treated water. Means after the treatment we can say treated water. So here if the water receives some treatment for the purification, so after that we can say treated water. So for example, distilled water, this is most important, distilled water here, this is very useful in the lab, means many experiments done only in the presence of the distilled water. Distilled water, this is free from all the microbes, and this free from ionic substance, means ionic substance, minerals, anything, no any other things present in the distilled water, means this is totally pure water. So we can say distilled water. So distilled water we can get by heating the water. If we heat the water, then water will change into the vapor form, in the gaseous form, and if we cool the gaseous form of the water, then we can get the liquid water, and this liquid water totally pure. So we can say distilled water. So distilled water we can get by heating the water, and the water allowed to change into the gaseous form, in the vapor form, and if we cool this, then if we condense this, then we will get the liquid water, and this liquid water totally pure. So we can say this is the distilled water. Next, pipe bond water. So here the pipe bond water means this water we can get by the filtration process, and by the filtration process, and this water free from microbes. So this is the pipe bond water. Next, fluorinated water. Fluorinated water means in the swimming pool water present here, many microbes are present. So if we use the fluorinated substance, so these fluorinated substance kill the germs, those are present in the pond water. Also you can see that in the tank of the water, that water present, so we can use the fluorinated substance. So if we use the chlorine tablet or fluorinated substance, so here these substances kill the germs. So by applying these substances we are getting the water, we can say fluorinated water, and by these substances the germs kill. Next topic here, very important topic, water a universal solvent. So water is the universal solvent. Why this is universal solvent? So here one thing, water is the universal solvent because we know that in nature mostly all the chemical reactions occur in the presence of the water, and also in the lab also we can see the making of solution. Most of the solution made only in the presence of the water. In chemical reaction water used, and in our body those chemical reactions occur in our body. These are only presence of the water. Between the cells chemical activities occur only in the presence of the water. So only in the water these vital activities and the chemical reaction in the atmosphere these occur. So this is the reason we can say water is the universal solvent. Means we can say water has the tendency to dissolve many substances. This dissolve different type of salts, different acids, bases, and organic materials, inorganic materials, different type gases also dissolve in the water. So we can say that water is the universal solvent. If we take the common salt, this also dissolve in the water. Sugar also dissolve in the water. Potassium permanganate dissolve in the water. Sodium hydroxide dissolve in the water. Hydrogen fluoride dissolve in the water. H2SO4 dissolve in the water. Means most of the things we can see in our daily life and in the natural chemical reaction occur only in the presence of the water. So that's why we can say water is the universal solvent. But scientifically, if you want to say why this is water is the universal solvent, so here two aspects here. First of all, water is the polar covalent compound, and the second, water has the high dielectric constant value. These are the two scientific terms here used, and water is the polar covalent compound, and the second property here, it has the high dielectric constant value. Dielectric constant. So here due to presence of these properties, the water is the universal solvent. We can say water is the universal solvent. So we will understand here polar covalent nature. What is the polar covalent? So here polar covalent we can see. Polar covalent. So if we see the structure of the water, so here in the water structure, oxygen chemically attached with the hydrogen. So this is the structure of water, and this is covalent compound. Covalent compound developed only by the sharing of electrons between the atoms. Only by the sharing of electrons. So in the previous class you have studied little with sharing of electrons, that in this case we know that oxygen has 6 electrons in the outermost shell, and according to the duplet rule that oxygen requires 2 more electrons. According to the octet rule, oxygen requires 2 more electrons. So here in the oxygen atomic number 8, in the K cell 2 electrons, in the L cell 6 electrons, 2 electrons required for completing their octet. So in this way 8 electrons should be present in the outermost cell. So only 2 electrons required by the oxygen, and in this way this oxygen share 1 electron with this hydrogen, and hydrogen also share 1 electron with this oxygen. So in this way here also oxygen share 1 electron with this hydrogen, and hydrogen also share 1 electron with this oxygen. So here in the previous class little bit you have studied, and only I will say about the brief idea of the covalent compound. So covalent compound developed by the sharing of electrons. So here 1 electron shared by oxygen, and hydrogen share 1 electron with this oxygen, and here oxygen share 1 electron with this hydrogen, and hydrogen share 1 electron with this oxygen. So this is the sharing of electrons, And if we count the total number of electrons here by the after sharing, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 means oxygen octet completed, outermost cell completed. And if we see the hydrogen, only one cell, so here also 2 electrons present due to the sharing. And after the sharing, these are called bonding electrons. Those are shared, we can say bonding electrons. So here we can see between this oxygen and hydrogen 2 electron pair, 2 electrons shared. So we can say 1 pair electron shared. 1 pair electron shared. 2 electrons shared means 1 pair electron shared. So here if 1 electron pair shared, so here single covalent bond develop. So we can see here oxygen, between the oxygen hydrogen single covalent bond develop. Here also single covalent bond develop. And bonding electrons are present in the center. Bonding electrons are present in the center. So if we represent only the bonding electron, so we can see bonding electrons present in the center between the 2 atoms. Here also between the 2 atoms. But due to the high electronegativity of oxygen, we know that 6 electrons present in the outermost cell of oxygen atom. And it has the high tendency to attract the electron. It has the high tendency to attract the electron. And due to this nature, the bonding electrons migrate towards the oxygen atom. Because oxygen has the high tendency to attract the electrons. This is called electronegativity. So electronegativity means the power of an atom to attract the electrons in covalent compound. So this is called the electronegativity. So here oxygen electronegativity more means it has the high power to attract the electron to itself. So in this way, these bonding electrons migrate towards the oxygen atom. So in this way, when the bonding electron migrate towards the oxygen atom, and here also the bonding electron migrates towards the oxygen atom. So here near the oxygen atom means around the oxygen atom, electron density more. And due to the electron density more, the oxygen acquires the partial negative charge. So this is a sign of the delta, and this delta sign represents very less charge, partial charge, very less charge. So we can represent by this sign delta minus. And means partial charge, very less charge. So here no any bond broken. Only the charge developed due to the migration of electrons. So here partial negative charge, and if we see the hydrogen here, partial positive charge. Because the electrons migrated towards the oxygen means away from the hydrogen. So hydrogen has positive nature, means partial positive charge, means we will represent by the sign delta plus, means very less charge developed. Here also we will represent del plus, means very less positive charge developed. So here no any bond broken, but the charge developed due to the migration of electron. So compound remains same, here no any change in this. Only the migration of electrons takes place, and due to the migration the charge develops. So here we can see in this compound the charge develops. So this is the reason we can say polar, and this is the covalent compound. So we will say polar covalent compound. Polar covalent compound. Polar means what? Attraction. Polar means attraction, and in the chemistry attraction means charge present, because the attraction only occurs due to the presence of the charge, due to the presence of charges. So here charges present means attraction takes place, and due to the attraction, the second meaning of attraction polar. Polar means attraction. So here we can say polar covalent compound. And this is the polar covalent compound, and one theory exists: polar dissolves polar, non-polar dissolves non-polar. Means those substances are polar in nature, so these will dissolve in the water. So for example, if you say sodium chloride also this made by the charges. So here sodium chloride dissolve in the water. If we say sugar also charge develop here, this also dissolve in the water. If we say the hydrochloric acid, so this also here charge present, so this dissolve in the water. If we say ammonia gas, NH3, so this also dissolve in the water because ammonia made by the 3 hydrogen atom. And here nitrogen has the high electronegativity, so here partial negative charge, hydrogen has the partial positive charge. So due to this, this is the polar covalent compound. This ammonia also polar covalent compound. So this dissolve in the water. So ammonia is the gas and it has the polar nature. So due to this dissolve in the water. In the same manner, if you say sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, so these gases also dissolve in the water because these gases having the polar nature. So this is the reason the water has the tendency to dissolve many substances. And one more point here, high dielectric constant value. High dielectric constant value. So here high dielectric constant value we can understand. The water has the property to lose the attraction force between the ions of electrovalent compound. Water has the capability, water has the property to remove the attraction force between the ions of electrovalent compound. So this is called high dielectric constant value. Means water has more tendency to remove the attraction force between the ions of electrovalent compound. So we can say it has the high dielectric constant value. So if this property exists, so we can say dielectric constant means high dielectric constant value present in the water. So in this way, suppose that you can understand by this figure here. Here, if we are taking the water in this beaker, and if you are putting the 1 spoon of sugar in this, spoonful of sugar in this water, if you mix 1 spoonful of sugar in 1 beaker of water, here 100, suppose that 100 ml of the water present here. So in this way, you will observe that sugar dissolve, and suppose, if you take the NaCl, NaCl is the electrovalent compound, sodium chloride. If we take the NaCl, 1 spoonful of NaCl means common salt, if we dissolve in the water, so this easily dissolve in the water. Why? This is ionic compound. And here water has the high dielectric constant value. And if we dissolve the 1 spoonful of salt, so what will happen here? Suppose that here NaCl molecule, because NaCl molecules less in this, we are mixing only 1 spoonful of salt, common salt. So here we know that this common salt made by the sodium ion and chloride ion. And between sodium ion and chloride ion, force of attraction here exists between the sodium ion and chloride ion. So here other molecules means many more molecules of water. So here this, so oxygen has the negative charge, hydrogen positive charge. So this oxygen attracts the sodium ion, and this hydrogen attracts the chloride. And here also suppose that water means many molecules are, because full of beaker here water present. So here this oxygen attracts the sodium, hydrogen attracts the chloride. Here water present. So this oxygen attracts the sodium, hydrogen attracts the chloride. So in this way, here we can see water, due to the polar nature, water attracts the sodium and chloride ions. And due to the attraction, the sodium ion means attraction force here removed, lost between the sodium ion and chloride ion. So here totally removed due to the presence of the water. Because water has the high dielectric constant value, it has the property to remove the attraction force between the ions of electrovalent compound. So here sodium we can see this attracted by this oxygen, and suppose that here water molecule present, so sodium attract by this oxygen, and here in the same manner chloride attract by this hydrogen, and here water molecule present, so chloride attract by this hydrogen. So in this way, the attraction force between the ions of electrovalent compound totally removed, totally lost due to the presence of the water. So this is high dielectric constant value, and the salt, common salt, easily change into the ions in the water because attraction force here lost between the ions of the salt. So here totally dissolve. If we dissolve the 1 spoonful of salt, 2 spoonful of salt, so easily dissolve in the water. So this is the high dielectric constant value. So in this way, if the question comes that water is the universal solvent, so you will write water is the universal solvent because it has the tendency to dissolve many substances, different type of salts, different type of bases, different type of organic matter, different inorganic substances, and different gases. Examples also we can say ammonia gas, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, salts, NaCl, sugar we can write, other substance, sodium hydroxide, we can write these. And also you will represent that because water has the two unique properties, that it has this is the polar covalent compound, water is the polar covalent compound, and water has the high dielectric constant value. So due to these nature, the water has the tendency to dissolve many more substances, and we can say water is the universal solvent. So time completed. Any problem in understanding? Hello?
Can you repeat? So can you
once
repeat
again?
once? So can you repeat once more those two unique properties of water?
So here one more thing you can see that water is the universal solvent because it has the tendency to dissolve many more substances, different type of salts, we can take sodium chloride, different type of bases, we can say different bases here, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and different type of acid, HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, different type of gases, ammonia gas, sulfur dioxide gas, sulfur trioxide. So here two scientifically here why this is universal solvent. So here correct answer here, it has the two property. This is the polar covalent compound. Once again here I am writing polar covalent compound. This is polar covalent compound. And the second, high dielectric constant value. Water has the high dielectric constant value. High dielectric constant we can write. So here polar covalent compound and high dielectric constant value. High dielectric constant we can write, and polar covalent. This is the polar covalent compound. Understood? Understood, Shruti? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Any problem? Are you seeing?
Yes, sir.
Polar covalent compound and high dielectric constant value.
Yes.
Okay. And other student, any problem?
No, sir.
In listening, any problem?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.